There was once a very great spiritual master whose name was Troilanga Swami. He was the possessor of tremendous occult power and spiritual power. Sri Ramakrishna went to see him a few times. According to Sri Ramakrishna, he was the moving Lord Shiva. Troilanga Swami renounced everything. He always remained unclothed. He did not ask anybody for food. If others came and fed him, he ate, but he never cared for quality or quantity. Anything people gave, he ate, and he left the quantity up to his devotees and admirers. In one of his visits to Troilanga Swami, Sri Ramakrishna offered him a very large quantity of Indian sweets. Another time, some wicked people offered him a very large quantity of the chemical lime. He ate it, and it caused him to vomit immediately. They were all shocked, but for their misbehavior, they touched his feet and cried, and he forgave them immediately. He who has renounced the world not only sees the universal truth beauty, but also sees the universe as the truth beauty and as the illumining and fulfilling reality. A great Indian king once went on a boat trip on the Ganges. He and his attendants saw a man swimming behind them. It was Troilanga Swami. It happened in an hour or so that Troilanga Swami swam near the boat smiling, so they helped him into the boat. He was naked as usual, but the people there did not mind because they all knew him and had tremendous respect, love, and veneration for him. The king was also pleased to see him because he also admired him. The king had a sword hanging around his waist. Troilanga Swami took it from him and examined it and played with it like a child. Then he suddenly threw it into the Ganges. The king was furious. He had received this sword for his valor and for his merit, so he felt miserable that he had lost such a precious thing. He wanted to punish the man, but everybody protested. "Oh no, he is a saint. You can't do that. It will be a terrible thing if you touch him." The king said, "If you people are not willing to punish him, then once we land, I will get other people who will gladly listen to me and punish this man." When they were about to reach the shore, Troilanga Swami, who was seated in the boat, placed his hand in the water. All of a sudden, two shining swords appeared in his hand. They were identical and both looked exactly like the one he had thrown into the Ganges. Everybody was astonished. the master said to the king, "O king, now find the one that belonged to you." The king was totally nonplussed. He did not know which one was actually his. Then Troilanga Swami said to him, "You fool, you don't know which one belongs to you. You don't know your own possession?" Then he threw away the one that was not the king's and said, "In this world, nothing will remain with you. When you die, everything you have will have to remain here. To the real in you, I say, don't live in the world of enjoyment. Remain in the world of aspiration. Remain in the world of light, peace, and bliss. You are a king, but you are a fool as well. Be wise. Then only will you have true happiness in life. Be spiritually wise." Unless and until we become spiritually wise, we shall never know what our true possession is. Our true possession, our internal possession, our only possession is our love of God. There cannot be anything else here on earth or there in heaven for us to claim as our own. Only our love of God, our constant, soulful and self-giving love of God can be our eternal possession. This possession will always remain safe, and we ourselves will also be safe only when we claim this possession as our own, very own. Once we know that we have love of God in abundant, boundless, and infinite measure, then God's possession, which is His entire creation, immediately becomes our possession as well. Our love of God claims God, and the moment we offer our love to God, God's creation immediately becomes ours as well. His entire creation comes from His vision, and He and His vision are inseparable. When we claim God with our love, God's concern and God's creation immediately claim us. For the sole possessor is God and nobody else. Here on earth, everything that we can see, we try to claim. Everything that is around us also wants to claim us. But we cannot claim others and they cannot claim us, for we see that something is missing in them and they see that the same thing is missing in us. What is missing is love of God. This is the seed, the possibility seed, which eventually grows into the inevitability fruit. One day, Troilanga Swami was with his disciples when a nicely dressed, middle-aged Bengali gentleman wearing a new dhoti and perfumed with oil came to him. To the disciples' wide surprise, Troilanga Swami embraced the gentleman. Everybody said, "How can you embrace someone who is so sophisticated and unspiritual? There is no spirituality in him." Troilanga Swami said to them, "You fools, you don't recognize him. You people would have to give up everything in life, renounce everything in order to come to his spiritual state of consciousness. In your highest state of consciousness, you cannot equal him. For him to wear clean, new, ironed clothes or to use perfume is nothing. He has reached such a spiritual height that he will not be affected no matter what he wears or what he does. You can't judge people by their outer appearance. He is really a great seeker, an extraordinary soul." Troilanga Swami's words proved true. The man's name was Shyama Charan Lahiri, and he was later known to be a great spiritual master. If one knows how to sing the world renunciation song well, then one can never be tempted by the world possession song, not to speak of the world temptation dance. His divine realization is not affected in the inner world. His human performance is not affected in the outer world. He is like a boat that is in the water and at the same time is not affected by the water. Troilanga Swami and one of his dear disciples were meditating together on the bank of the Ganges. All of a sudden, a terrible hurricane arose. The disciple said to the master, "Let us go home. Let us hurry to our ashram." The master said, "How can I go home now? Look at the pitiful condition of the passengers in that boat on the river. The boat is about to sink." The disciple said, "I also feel sorry for them, but what can we do?" In a few minutes' time, the disciple saw the boat sink. He felt miserable and started crying for the passengers. Then he looked around. To his wide surprise, he saw that his master was missing. Then he felt totally miserable. The hurricane was in its full fury, the boat had sunk, and his master was not visible. He began praying to the master to come back from wherever he had gone. After a short time, he saw the boat that had sunk come up again right in front of him with all the passengers, and inside the boat was also a naked man, Troilanga Swami. Before that moment, nobody in the boat had seen the master. He had gone unseen and brought the boat and the passengers back to shore unharmed and safe. This was another of Troilanga Swami's miracles. A God representative is he who embodies eternity's compassion heart, infinity's protection light, and immortality's illumination soul. A king, his queen, and their dear ones were swimming in a private swimming pool. There were guards all around, so nobody knew how Troilanga Swami had managed to come in and stand right in front of the swimming pool. As he was naked and very fat, he was extremely odd looking. When the king and queen saw that he was watching them swim, they were furious. The king wanted to punish Troilanga Swami, and there was a great uproar all around the pool. Meanwhile, Troilanga Swami's devotees were looking for their master. When they learned where he was, they ran and told the king how great the master was. "He has a childlike nature. That is why he was watching you swim," they said. "Just like a child, he has come here for innocent amusement. He has no lower vital problems. He is above all that. For him, sandalwood and waste matter are the same. Everything is the same to him." The king said, "If everything is the same to him, then he has to eat what I eat, meat. Since he is a spiritual man, I am sure he does not eat meat. Let us see if everything is equal to him." Troilanga Swami said, "Yes, I am ready to eat meat, but first, will you eat my food?" The king, knowing perfectly well that since he was a sadhu, he would eat only fruit and milk, said, "Certainly, I will eat your food." Then, in front of everyone, Troilanga Swami immediately emptied himself and started eating. Everyone was amazed and horrified. Then he said to the king, "Now eat what I have eaten." The king simply ran the other way, but the onlookers got a very good fragrance from this, like sandalwood, and they were surprised and moved. Later, the king said to Troilanga Swami, "I know your spiritual power. I know who you are, and I am issuing a message that nobody should bother you anymore, even if you walk naked. The beauty of a childlike, innocent flower heart gives off a special fragrance everywhere, not only from what it has within itself, but also from the beauty that it sees all around. It was not Troilanga Swami's so-called curiosity that compelled him to go to the swimming pool, but it was his equality vision which wanted to show to the world the evenness of reality everywhere. Discrimination abolished, equality's universality reigns. Troilanga Swami once went into a Kali temple. He was followed into the temple by a young, highly advanced seeker named Bijoy Krishna Goswami. To Bijoy Krishna's wide surprise, Troilanga Swami passed water and sprinkled the whole statue of Kali. Bijoy Krishna was frightened and horrified that a man could do this. "What are you doing?" he demanded. Troilanga Swami replied, "This is all Ganges water. I am worshipping the Mother Kali." When the people who were in charge of the temple came in, Bijoy Krishna told them what the master had done. The people in charge were not at all shocked. "Oh, Troilanga Swami has done it," they said. He is one with Lord Shiva. If it had been somebody else, we would have taken him to task. We would have been furious and we would have punished him. But Troilanga Swami is always in Lord Shiva consciousness. Shiva and Kali are one, so we don't have to worry at all. The source is existence, consciousness, bliss. It is reality omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. The lover of the source, the knower of the source, the dweller in the source, and the possessor of the source are all the same. Troilanga Swami, as the lover of Kali and the beloved of Kali, is the self-same reality.